Daly from the School of Nursing, and listening to the previous speakers, I thought I'm really an end user of Canvas. So I've got a nursing and science background, and I've been with the school almost since it started. I started about a year after it opened in 2000. Okay, so what I was going to do was just take you through this course that I run that's become very large. So it started off, I'll go through the points I was going to make. So this is a course that we call it Biological Science for Practice, but it's really for nurses to brush up on their science and their evidence-based interventions. Okay, so there's increased demands on nurses at the moment to upskill and have more skills and look after a lot of the patients with chronic care conditions. So it's been driven by the Ministry and the Nursing Council. Okay. So the course has always been run from 2000, but it was taught up front. And then in 2000 we took it online, so it was completely taught online. And it started off in 2005 with about 25 students, and now we've had a cap on the numbers since 2012, but we now have 250. And that's with a cap on, so we still have a lot of other students wanting to do the course. So I thought I'd look at what's driving that, and then go through the structure of the course and look at some of the developments we've made, some of the limitations. I'm just wondering, is the volume up enough? Okay, thank you. Okay, so just a brief overview. As I said, it was classroom based initially. We had 6 teaching days. I did some of the lectures, but I also had some fantastic guest speakers come in, a lot of physicians, experts in their field, and take sessions for me. And we got up to about 60 students by the end. Okay, and the course aims, as I've already mentioned, is basically to increase nurses' knowledge around science. They do their undergraduate degrees in a variety of institutions, from rural polytechnics through to our university, which it is at the top. So to increase their knowledge and increase their understanding of chronic pathological problems like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, respiratory pathologies, and then increase their understanding of evidence-based interventions. So in 2005, word goes around very quickly in the nursing community about this course, and there was a big drop in numbers from 60 down to 25 when we went online. And the reason we went online is our head of department often flies around the country meeting nurse leaders, and from an industry point of view it was very expensive to release nurses 6 days a semester, this runs every semester, and also pay their flights to Auckland. But they also was saying it was a great course, they wanted their nurses to do it so that they could move forward into specialist roles. So my head of department, who was great and always thinking ahead, said, we're going to move this online. And of course initially I went, what? Okay, I don't have any skills to do that. So we had people like wonderful Fiona McLeod from Learning and Development who her unit helped me with this, and another colleague. So we spent about 18 months preparing it to go online. It was a huge amount of work. So, and also, as well as meeting industry needs, it was to meet student needs. So the students were the same. A lot, as you can appreciate, nursing is very female dominated. Most nurses in the community are female, and well over 80% in hospitals are female. So they're busy, they're often mothers, they're working full and part-time, they take care of other family members when they get sick. So it was the same for them. Many of them couldn't make it to Auckland for those study days. So once we got going online, the numbers just went up very, very quickly. And very, very soon we were putting a cap on it. And I've just had a study leave, and when I came back from study leave, we found somebody to run the course for me while I was away, and she wanted to stay on. So we thought, okay, we'll increase the numbers. And we made that decision while I was away, and about a week later I started getting emails from students saying, I can't enrol. So I emailed the school and I said, you've forgotten to increase it to 250 from 180. And they said, no, we've increased it to 250, and it filled within a week or two. So most nurses, probably half are in Auckland and most are from the North Island, but we do have some from the South Island taking the course. Okay, so another major problem with the course, when we ran it up front, it was very highly reviewed. Over 90% of students were overall happy with it. They've always complained about the amount of work. Most nurses don't have a very strong science background, and most schools are very social science influenced, so the nurses come really from a social science background. So when I start talking about numbers and more science-based topics, a lot of them switch off. So can you imagine that and being online? So there are a lot of difficulties for the nurses, and remember, a lot of these nurses in 2005 were not very computer literate. They weren't using computers at work. So typically I would be saying to them, can you get one of your children to help you? You know, log on and sign in and put the website in, and that actually worked very well. Okay? So and grandmothers would get their grandchildren to help. So it was very, very difficult, and we were often giving very basic advice about, you know, turn the computer on and put in a website. I must say that that's very different now. All nurses would be using electronic files in general practice, and hospitals are all, you know, electronic. So they've been forced at work and they've been forced in the study environment. Okay, so what's driven these large numbers? The Ministry of Health produced a couple of documents back in 2000 and 2001 where they've made a huge effort to get nurses to play a bigger role in chronic disease management. Okay, so some of you will be sitting there thinking that's the cheap way to manage all these patients, but there's a lot of evidence to suggest nurses are equally good at managing people with diabetes and cardiovascular disease as physicians, provided they've got, you know, good support and keeping up with education and skills around that. And that's happened in most Western countries, okay, driven in America and then England. So now the Nursing Council has also been forced to look at some increasing or looking at nurses to see what else they can do in the. So the students have to type in questions at the end, and then I read them out, which I do in a lecture, in a big lecture anyway. So some newer developments, and I wanted to convey the idea that as I've gone along, there's always something to improve on. There just always is, and the younger generation just have these, you know, amazing IT skills, and they're used to all these amazing websites out there, and it's a matter of trying to make this a little bit, you know, more user-friendly, prettier, and so there's always something. So Piazza was new this semester, which I love. It's a little bit fiddly getting going, but basically write your question into Google. You've got to put topics up in Piazza. And that's not intuitive, but anyway, I just did it again last night. You go into manage class and you find these topics, and it's still fiddly, but I managed to get some new topics up there. But it's absolutely worthwhile pursuing that if you've got a large number of students. The discussion forums, I've already moaned about those. And I still use the announcements on Canvas, which I love. It's good. I know the email goes out. I can attach a file if I need to. So that's still very good. So just quickly, on the very first assignment, when we went online, I was given some very good advice from an experienced person in the learning development unit, and he said, well, what feedback are you going to give students? And so he suggested giving them some feedback on their first assignment. So we actually give feedback in 2 spots. And I think it's really necessary. The first assignment's quite difficult. It's like a mini quantitative review of evidence around an intervention. And it served 2 purposes. It was to check students are on track. We don't check Turnitin. And the second thing was sometimes I would get assignments when I was teaching in the upfront style, and I would think this assignment's not for this course. It was so off track that, so it's a way for us to stop, and all the markers help give this feedback. So basically now we make sure the students are on track. It puts students under pressure because there's a time frame to get this in. And in fact that badge might work quite well there as well. We email a lot of information at the beginning of the course, and that's to help the students actually log on and find out about the tutorials and things. So we still do rely on the email. I've got lots of frequently asked questions up on the course, and we still have the teaching day, and those lecture recordings are made available as well. Oh gosh, I've got a lot of information there, but I guess positives about it, it's very flexible, and I love the flexibility as well. I've got the sort of personality where, you know, if I want to get on at 10 o'clock at night and work on something else all day, I can do that. It doesn't suit people who want a 9-to-5 job and no weekends. So it's 7 days a week, and it's often I'm checking it in the evening, and that's to cut down on my emails, and it just suits my personality. Less resources are definitely required. A huge number of students. I'm full-time, and we've got a part-time person and another marker who helps, and a large number. I've now got 12 markers. It's individualised for students. There's been vast improvements since 2005, thank goodness, which is great, and also a big improvement in student skills, and I was delighted to see that now most students are very satisfied with it. Challenges, it's there to put a course online, it's hugely time consuming. Updates are required frequently. I change all the questions in one assignment every year. I think you can read down there anyway, but as I've said, it is basically 7 days a week. It needs to be covered in the weekend. Yeah, so my main limitations are the discussion forums at the moment, and it's very difficult for that interactive assessment point, and it would be, if I could mark on Piazza, we would move it there. I think that's the last one. Okay, so thank you. I think we've only got a minute, haven't we? Is there any quick comments or? I mean, I know some of you might be sitting there and go, well, you know, you could greatly improve that, but sorry, I'm not an expert.
I was going to ask, we are trying to make some decisions about the capacity of 50 within the.
Oh, right,
classroom.
yes.
I'm curious whether you would want more than 50, or whether 50 works well for you, or whether you could go up to the 250 and handle potentially more online.
Right. I don't think the numbers would make a huge difference, because at the end, most people then, they need to go off and cook dinner and all that sort of thing. We do it 5:30 to 6:30ish. And it may make the question time a little bit longer, but I don't think it would be a major problem. My feeling still is, I notice at the beginning of the semester the whole page is full of students, and then by the end it drops down. So I think most students actually prefer to listen to it afterwards. Oh.
You had any
Sorry.
comments on whether or not the closed captioning that comes with the use of YouTube has been appreciated by the students?
You mean putting the YouTube up there for them?
Yeah, with the YouTube, obviously you get closed captioning happens automatically. Have the students commented or found the closed captioning of the videos to be?
Oh, sorry, I don't know what you mean. You mean what's it like for them? Oh, you might be able to answer. Oh. Oh, sorry. So you mean, are they happy with it?
Yeah.
Oh yes, very much so.
Actually turn the captioning on so while the people are talking, when you're talking,
Yes.
there's actually subtitles around at the bottom and YouTube produces that automatically. Sometimes might not be, 100% accurate.
Oh right, so it runs across and it's interpreting what I say,
Yeah.
which would be good for the students whose English isn't so good. Okay, I didn't know that. I'll go and check with the person who does the YouTube.
The videos you need to be open, so they won't have the service. There probably is private channels.
Oh, thank you. No, I'll look into that. Sophie?
In the ideal world, if the recordings persisted beyond 2 weeks, would you choose that over YouTubing?
To me, I think it's similar. It's the 2-week limit that's the problem. Because a lot of these students, though, they might be finishing off an assignment and we've moved on to the next topic. And particularly with that final assignment, a lot will go back and listen to those recordings later.
So I guess my question's really for Kevin.
Sorry.
Is there a way for the big blue button to last longer than 2 weeks? Sally's
Yes.
nodding.
Well, this is the decision if we move to the premium version of the Big Blue Button, it would give us unlimited users.
Right.
And it's a permanent recording.
Mm.
So,
The YouTube is a bit of a pain. The person who administers for me on the course does it, and we do it Wednesday night. He doesn't normally get it up before Wednesday, and he's in and out of the room for hours doing it.
The
So-
other tool that's available is ARC, as part of the Canvas platform, and that does captioning or transcripts of what you're saying for student access for English as a second language and for people who want to get
Right.
clarity around possibly something that's not clear.
Right. Because on the course we've put in with Fiona several slides where I speak over that, and the students who don't speak English as a first language really like the fact that I've got the transcript in there as well.
What's an optimal time for your lectures, as in the limit?
Those weekly ones. I try and keep it to an hour, but sometimes I do go off on a tangent and it might be 6:45 before I finish. And then I might have questions. Yeah, so try and keep to that hour. Yeah. Okay.
Are you staying for morning tea?
Yes, yes.
No, you can.
Oh, thank you.